Objective: to know the concept of risk and to know why entrepreneurs take risks, to differentiate risk and uncertainty, to learn how to manage risk for entrepreneurial advantage, to learn what risks are important and how to manage them, to know how strategic risks are very important for sustainability. Entrepreneurs say they often started with a big company then quit, a lone ranger, independent, are perceived persevering, disciplined, are confident, self-reliant, have basic business skill, started young, a good listeners, engaged in calculate risk-taking. Are opportunity-driven, know how to assess opportunity, have or quickly learn team-building skill, have strong technical skill, appreciate mentorship, are able to manage growth, understand the importance of social interaction and common sense, play, not to lose, a frequently serious entrepreneur. Risk, the root of the word. Risky, Arabic. Risico, Latin. Risque, French. Risk, English.
Quotes. First, it is easier to be brave when far away from danger, said by Aeschylus. Second, if you don't fall now and again, it's a sign you are playing it safe, said by Woody Allen. Risk is good or bad. Risk is good because it provides opportunity. Second, it provides return for advancement. Risk is bad because it is unpredictable and chance for losing money. Concept of risk. Risk is a concept that denotes a potential negative impact to an asset or some characteristic for value that may arise from some present process or future event. Risk vs uncertainty. Some definitions. Webster Dictionary say that risk possibility of loss or injury. Uncertainty is indefinite, indeterminate, and no beyond a doubt. Frank H. Knight 1921 said that risk is present when future events occur with measurable probability. Uncertainty is present when the likelihood of future events is indefinite or incalculable. Based on Electronic Dictionary, risk is defined as the possibility of something bad happening at some time in the future. In this light, risk is a state of uncertainty where some possible outcomes have an undesired effect. Besides, risk is the possibility of suffering harm or loss. Based on this explanation, I think that risk can be forecast sometime, but it may also happen suddenly. Risk for an entrepreneur can be facing loss when doing some investment, although risk can cause us to be stressed or have significant loss, but we should be brave to take risks. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But the higher the climb, the harder the fall. So that we must be carefully in the journey to become an entrepreneur. Uncertainty means that something that we cannot be sure about. Uncertainty could happen when we have a limited knowledge. Limited knowledge causes us to be impossible to exactly describe existing state or estimate to future events. To reduce uncertainty happen, we must advance learning. Moreover, uncertainty is also a state of knowledge in which one or more alternatives result in a set of possible specific outcomes, but where the probabilities of the outcomes are neither known nor meaningful. In 1921, Frank Knight had established a book which named Risk, Uncertainty, and Profit. Frank Knight was an American economist who became founder of Chicago School. The slide below is talking about distinction between risk and uncertainty, and it is a small part of his book. From his book, we know that uncertainty must be taken in a sense radically distinct from the familiar notion of risk, from which it has never been properly separated. The essential fact is that risk means in some cases a quantity susceptible of measurement. while at other times it is something distinctly not of this character, and there are far-reaching and crucial differences in the bearings of the phenomena depending on which of the two is really present and operating. It will appear that measurable uncertainty or risk proper, as we shall use the term, is so far different from an unmeasurable one that it is not in effect an uncertainty at all.
Decision making. Only risk takers are truly free. All decisions are consequence involve risk. There is no such thing as permanent security. You are supposed to be afraid when you are risk. Tackling risk in decision making. Decide whether the risk is necessary or desirable. Risk for the right reason and when you are calm and thoughtful. Don't take a risk when you are emotional. Have a goal. Have clear purpose in mind. Wiser decision making. Here are 11 best steps to make wiser decisions. First, define as, as specifically as you can. Second, write down as many alternatives as you can think of. Let your imagination run off. Third, see where more information about possible alternative can be found. Fourth, check out your alternative. Fifth, specifics of each point. Six, sort through all the alternatives. Seven, visualize the outcome of each alternative. 8. Do a reality check. Cross out those that are least likely to work. 9. Which alternative fits best? Review the remaining ones and decide which of them are most comfortable. Last but not least, get started. Get moving once you have made your decision. And lastly, be sure to review your decision at specific point along the road. Remember that you can always change your mind. Character of risk and uncertainty. Risk, measurable uncertainty, quantifiable, deliberate, insurable, most of it, objective, unconstantly. Correct Character for uncertainty is unmeasurable uncertainty, unquantifiable, non-deliberate, non-insurable, and subjective.
There are eight of entrepreneurial risks. For example, is financial risk, business and operational risk, product and service reliability, career risk, family and social risk, physical and health risk, political and governmental risk, and unpredictable and uncontrollable risk. For the first is financial risk. Entrepreneurs need to have a good financial sense in order to run a business successfully. An entrepreneur will need funds to launch a business either in the form of loans from investors, their own savings, or funds from family. For the second is family and social risk. The risk of taking yourself and your family into an unfamiliar storm of stress and uncertainty. The third is physical risk. Some entrepreneurs who have suffered financial catastrophes have not been able to bounce back especially immediately. There are two of typology of entrepreneurial risk style. For the first is level of personal financial risk and level of profit motive. Low level of personal financial risk is taking risk avoiding activity seeking and risk avoiding profit seeking. And for the high level of personal financial risk is risk accepting activity seeking and risk accepting profit seeking. For the low level of profit motive is risk avoiding activity seeking and risk accepting activity seeking. And for the high level of profit motive is risk avoiding profit seeking and risk accepting profit seeking. Risk management. Risk management is the process of identifying risks in advance, assessing their likely occurrence, and taking steps to reduce or eliminate them.
Risk management is important for the small business. This because this can cause the loss of business, for example, injury, liability, and so on. It can potentially affect the small business operations and reduce profits of business. Besides, risk management is important for small business because without it, a business cannot possibly define its objective for the future. If the business define objective or business plan without taking the risk into consideration, chances are that they will lose direction. Risk-taking behavior have the potential to be harmful or dangerous, and risk-taking is a skill need to be learned by entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs' risk-taking behavior such as willing to take calculated or moderate risks, purchase risks as opportunities and challenges. Without risk, entrepreneurs will not experience failures and therefore will not learn from their mistakes. In addition, taking risks teach entrepreneurs important skills, such as how to calculate contingencies as well as strategic thinking and planning. The type of resources that are needed to start an enterprise can be broken into several categories. They are human, material, financial, technological, physical, information, reputation, networks, and organizational resources.
Strategy versus common resources. Strategy resources refer to resources which provide a sustained competitive advantage to a firm, whereas common resources are necessary for carrying out the firm's usual activity but provide no specific advantage. Here are the attributes of strategic resources. The first attribute is valuable. The second one is rare. The third attribute is non-substitutable. And the fourth one is hard to copy. What are the key factors to consider? The first factor is essentiality, in brackets, critical or non-critical. The second factor is availability of supply. The third factor is cost. The fourth factor is strategic or competitive advantage. The fifth factor is statutory or legal requirements. And the last factor is quality versus quantity.
Resource management objective: to ensure any resources needed by the business is available at the time, quantity, and specification. To avoid unnecessary waste or purchase of resources. To ensure smooth operation of the business. Creativity and innovation in resource management. Creative and innovative in acquiring resources. For example, cheap, reusable, multipurpose, recyclable. Next, creative and innovative in managing resources. For example, efficient reduce waste and generate revenue. Conclusion: Risk and resources are two things that entrepreneurs must know how to deal with. Since business is risky, entrepreneurs need to weigh their decision carefully in order to grab opportunities, and to perform managing resources is essential.